What is up, and welcome back to Talk Nutrition. Today's a completely different setting. I'm currently driving, and I hope this is going to work out. I'm not fully sure how the audio is going to be. It's a little bit noisy, but I'm pretty sure that with post-production and stuff, we're going to be able to make it sound great. But just so you know, I recently bought a van. So last week, picked up a van. It's going to be a camper van. I am traveling in it already. I'm sleeping in it, but it's not like fully I can't call the camper van yet because it's just not built out. But that will be my little project over the next couple of weeks. And I want to drive around the coast, do a lot of good hiking, camping, which I love doing anyway. And it's a new adventure. So you're going to see a lot more from the van, which right now, again, it's super bare still, The person I bought it from, he started the project, he began to kind of transform his van into, or convert his van into a camper van, but he never finished it. So I'm gonna finish the job, I guess. So you'll see it evolve over time, and then I'll eventually just have a solid setup. I have been working in the van. I have a little desk, I just have my workspace, but it's definitely not, what it's going to be. So it's exciting. I also looked at a house today, so I'm driving back now. It's a couple hours away from the city where I currently, have been living. So a lot of changes in life at the moment. And today's topic is going to be maybe related to it because, you might not be on the road, you might not be moving places, but you're going to have things to handle, right? You're going to have things to worry about, let's call it. You're going to have your stressful times, your busy times, and you want to have something in place for those periods of life. I will be speaking in a busy schedule setting, more maybe a little bit less on the road talk, which would be a great other episode. But I want to tie this more into, busy schedules, work, school. You're a parent, you have your goals, and you really feel like there's not enough hours in a day to just get everything done. I see this time and time again. People really thinking that is the thing that holds them back from reaching their goals. It is the thing that's why, it's their why of, hey, I'm currently in a place where I'm not reaching my goals, but I also don't know what to do. It's my schedule, right? I'm too busy, etc. And I don't want to take away from the busyness because I feel you, you have a lot to do, right? You have a lot on your plate. But I can tell you this, and I don't like comparing, but I want to say this because I have enough data currently to support this claim. I have years of data, hundreds of people by now, to where I am seeing that our most successful people very often are also our busiest clients. So it's not that busyness that gives them their, stamp of, hey, you're doomed, It's not the busyness that's holding them back before starting, of course. It's something else. And that's what I wanted to talk about today, because I want to set you up with a checklist, a cheat sheet, if you will, that allows you to put together a perfect day of eating that you can just fall back on. Because here's the thing. Because you are busy, you likely don't have a lot of drive or time or both energy, right, to play macro Tetris all day and to really puzzle. And we know that scenario, right? Everyone who's tried tracking at some point, we've all been there. You're in the kitchen, scratching your head. You're like, how do I put together this meal? And how am I supposed to hit my proteins? And what should I do for my carbs? It's already too late then. It's already too late. You're being reactive. You're not being proactive. Those are some of the most important words I'm going to be saying today. Proactive, reactive. We need to get you to be proactive. I want you to step up and not be a victim to your busy schedule, but I want you to say, and you know what, hey, I understand my busy schedule, that's not going to change anytime soon. Let's be honest, right? I'm also going to understand that, hey, I still have my health to take care of, and I still need to be the example for my family, my kids, my colleagues, whatever, right? My friends. I want to lead from the front, right? I want to be that person who inspires someone else to take action as well. So I'm not just doing this for my own health, I'm doing this for my environment too. I'm going to be the person who's not a victim to my busy schedule, but I'm going to make it work anyway. That is the mindset you want to have. Now, I'm not going to say that this is going to be without effort and that you're going to just do this without having to do something for it, because that's not the case. You're absolutely going to have to do some work for this. However, this is a upfront investment. The return on investment, that is where, like, that's where the magic happens, because that's like tenfold. And I want you to think about this, right? You're investing a little bit of time, a little bit of effort. You're taking action now to then eventually get something back. That's less overwhelm, less stress, better results, and you're saving time, maybe even money. Because if you're constantly like making your in-the-moment decisions, you're likely to, spend a whole bunch of money on random meals and your takeouts and those kind of things. And there's nothing wrong with those either. But you can benefit from creating your own meal plan, your own perfect day, and I want to help you create that today. Now, full transparency, my life currently has been a little bit like all over the place, and I'm finding my groove again, with the van, with, moving. I put my stuff in storage, and I'll be actually living in this van for the next few months until I get the house that I placed a bid on, which is a very long process in this case. So I wanted to make most out of the summer, and I wanted to be able to road trip, which is why I'm now in the van. But I also want you to know that is also why I had to, kind of like find my groove again, and that's why I'm late with the podcast. So I do apologize for that. And I was going to put together a full day of eating where you see me share my screen, my laptop, and pull up chronometer, and I just lay it all out for you. However, here's the thing. I have a video like that for my clients. So what I need you to do, because right now, as you see, I am driving, and maybe you're listening to this on Spotify, you can still do the same thing. If you're listening to this and you want me to specifically lay out a full day of eating, how I would do that, then please message me on Instagram. You're going to see my profile linked in the show notes. Just scroll down. Hit me up. I just say perfect day. Just those two words, perfect day. That way I know that you listen to this podcast, and I can send you the video that I have for my clients as well, where I literally just walk them through a perfect day of eating. But what is the perfect day of eating? Let me start there. The perfect day of eating is our way of teaching someone after they've been with us for a little bit. This is in week 4 or 5, we start to kind of get into this when they join us, right? After having messed around a little bit with macros, because here's the thing, guys, I don't do all the work for you. I actually have you do more work at the beginning. And yes, people struggle with that a little bit more. And yes, it's more, to do for you. But the payoff is huge, because here's the thing, I need to throw you in the deep, and I need to kind of push you to become resourceful and try stuff. And that's not going to happen if I just say, here's your meal plan, let's go. Now what I do is I give you your macros, I give you your food recommendations. Of course, that needs to happen. You're going to get specific guidelines for you as the individual. However, I will not create your meal plan. Instead, I'm going to throw you in the deep, and I'm going to allow you to kind of mess around with it. But then by week 4, I'm like, hey, you know what? Let's do this. We've gone through, your food diary, then we set you up with your guidelines, how to build meals, those kind of things, how to create a schedule, meal frequency, all that good stuff, understanding your macros. We go through what's called the Foundations Crash Course, where we keep the same targets, but I want you to get familiar with certain concepts around mindset, around training, around nutrition, macros, calories. Then, in week 4, we do what's called the perfect day of eating. And it's my favorite exercise to do with our clients. And it really came out of necessity, I feel like. For myself also, to be honest with you. Because just like you, I am really fucking busy. I have all of my clients to take care of. I have 2 coaches on our team who I'm also mentoring. Creating content, doing the podcast, writing blogs, the list goes on. So just like you, I am very, very busy. But just like you, I also know what days of the week I'm the busiest and when it's the busy time. Going back to our best performing clients, I want you to notice, right? Our busy clients understand that that's an advantage. It's not a curse. Because a busy schedule also means that you usually have a very clear framework in terms of, hey, I know exactly when I can maybe squeeze in my lunch, when I can maybe get a breakfast in, and then where I will plan my, let's call it a light meal or snack, whatever, and where I can plan my post-workout, or I know exactly based on my current schedule how often per day I can eat. So your busyness is actually an advantage. And seeing it as an advantage already sets you apart. It already sets you apart because you are not a victim to your busy schedule. Instead, you say, hey, you know what? Yes, I am busy, but I'm going to make it work. This is my schedule, so I'm going to have to figure out how to fit my nutrition into that schedule. Instead of thinking, I need to base my whole life around this very strict meal plan, right? We don't do that. Excuse me. But okay, so the perfect day is really something that came out of necessity for myself, and I noticed with my clients too, like we need to have a backup plan. We need to have something in place to where, hey, if you're really struggling, if you really don't know, hey, I don't know what to eat or whatever it may be, you still have something to fall back on. You always know what to get. You always know what you can eat. We always preach variety, right? I want you to have a diverse, healthy, right, plan, basically. I want you to change up your nutrition. But I also think you need to have something in place to where, hey, like if you would like to, you just follow that every day. Because then it becomes very easy to control your nutrition and tweak it. So this is exactly how I hit my macros, and this is exactly how we utilize the perfect day of eating to just take that macro Tetrising from being a little bit all over the place, right? Kind of being like I'm just messing around with numbers, to just, hey, this is our day of eating. Of course, we can change it up, and I will teach you how to, but we now have a plan to follow. It's your own meal plan, but the difference is that you created it yourself and you understand what went into it, which now also means that you are in control and you can make tweaks if you want to. And if you need to, right, you can even completely just get rid of it, because let's say your plans completely changed. Okay, now you still have your macros to wing it on, or even calories and protein, but that's a different story. So the perfect day is a day where you just have your set meal frequency. Let's call it 4 or 5. We really see like 4 or 5 meals per day work very well for our clients. And that could be 4 meals and a snack. It could be whatever you want to call it, right? 4 or 5 feedings. What I like to do is on Sundays, I sit down and I pre-track a full day of eating in Chronometer. By the way, if you're using any other app out there, don't bother, just switch to Chronometer right now. I'm not affiliated with them. We've used them since 2020. I really like it. I've used it myself. I got great results with it. You know, all of our clients use it. And there's a reason we use Chronometer, to be honest with you. Like, you know, MyFitnessPal, their database, like, I mean, it's such a mess. Incorrect data, you know, you see people adding a whole bunch of custom stuff. Like, just go with Chronometer. You're way better off. And again, this is not an ad. Like, I legit just love that app. because I see how well it works for our clients. Now, that being said, Sunday, I sit down, I plan a full day of eating, and I pre-track that in Chronometer. That way, I've already hit my macros when I wake up on Monday. That is what I want you to think of. You're not playing Tetris, you're not doing your in-the-moment tracking, you're not, right, in the moment trying to think of, okay, well, what's breakfast going to be today? No, you already wake up knowing these are my meals. That is the main principle. You plan for it, and guess what? Because we've planned, we can also pre-track it. We now also know exactly how much we need if we want to meal prep. I'm not saying you have to meal prep, but I will say this. If you also meal prep, you will take this to another level, even more. And last but not least, I told you, you might even be able to save money here. You can then also take that, create a shopping list. Now you go in shopping with a plan in place. You're not buying a whole bunch of random stuff. All great stuff. The more you plan, the better, to be honest with you. Now, we will be doing more episodes also on, like, what do you do when you cannot plan? Because, of course, that's also, something we need to speak to. But the more meals you can plan ahead for, especially if you're in your transformation. Like, if you're like, hey, I've lost the weight, I've built the muscle, like, I feel like I could kind of, like, stay here. Amazing. Then, you know what? Like, we might not have to do all of this. Be so repetitive and, regimented with our nutrition. But hey, look, if you want to build muscle, you want to lose fat, you want to be effective with your nutrition, you want to get next level results, we got to create a little bit of, you got to be a little strict with that. I don't like to use that word, but I think it's the word that best describes it for you. It allows you to understand, hey, okay, well, you know what, like in this fat loss season, in this muscle gain season, I have to be a little bit more diligent. This is not a lifestyle thing. I could really go on a rant here, but like, let me do this a long story short. Because there's this big claim on social media where people are like, diets don't work and it should be a lifestyle and I do habits instead of tracking. Yeah, yes, absolutely. We want to create a healthy lifestyle. However, creating the results, the fat loss, the muscle gain, the performance goals, even health goals, right? You're going to have to go through periods of time. Let me call it seasons, right? You're going to have to go through seasons of life where you're going to have to be more restrictive, where you're going to have to push yourself, where by definition, the techniques you'll be using are not sustainable, are not supposed to be a lifestyle, because it's supposed to be a seasonal thing. And this is where people get it wrong. I do agree, you should not be dieting forever, but that's not the point, right? But let me go back to the program because I completely just go on a rant. But understand that through periods of time, you're going to have to be more diligent and regimented with your nutrition, long story short. And this is where the perfect day will help you. So we just established, hey, we're going to sit down, we're going to plan a full day of eating, we're going to make sure that when you wake up on that Monday morning, you'll know exactly what to eat. And you'll know exactly, hey, this is going to be my breakfast, my lunch, my dinner, my snack, my pre-post workout, whatever. And then if I wanted to, I can make changes because I understand how to put together my meals. I understand macros. I have the knowledge, the skills to be able to control this myself, you see. I want you to be in charge here. Like, you should be the person in charge. Now, that being said, okay, cool. So macros, calories, like how do you actually build your perfect day? Because I know that's what you're waiting for. And like I said, I was going to show you on screen, but I want you to do the following. Once again, I will help you out with this. Like, I will help you. I'll even, like, if you give me your macros, let me just say this. If you give me your macros, I will help you with a really quick video where I will show you how to put together your perfect day with the guidelines I'm about to share with you. So I'm going to make it even easier for you. The only thing you need to do, because I want you to do something, right? The only thing you need to do is go to Instagram and message me. Like, that's literally all. Just say, like, perfect day or something, right? So I know that you've listened to this episode, so that I know that you're like, hey, I need some help here. I don't really know what my perfect day would look like or how to do it. And by the way, I'm literally giving you free help, you know what I mean? So you're kind of crazy, like if you don't jump on this, I'm putting myself out there also, right? I'm saying this on the podcast, so now like I have to do it, you know? But I'm sure that, you know, some of you will actually take action. And it's funny too, because it's always just a few people, but guess what? Those few people are gonna be the people who will actually get the results sooner because they take action. That could be another whole podcast. The person who actually takes action, right? Even if it's imperfect, the perfect, you know, plan actually doesn't exist. So I'll explain what the perfect day actually means. But the person who's trying to get everything right, you know, but doesn't take action will not get there. The person who takes action, even though it may be imperfect action, the person who actually goes out of their way and right now opens up their Instagram and messages me and says, hey, you know what, like I actually kind of need a little bit of help with my perfect day of eating, right? That person is an action taker, and that is the person I want to help. So if that's you, hit me up, just DM me, perfect day, I'll help you out. Now, continuing with our perfect day of eating, it's not perfect in terms of superfoods or any of that bullshit, or, you know, we're going to use amazing foods, don't get me wrong. Like, we're going to be whole food based. We really want to make sure that, hey, you know, we eat healthy, absolutely. But it's not perfect in that sense. It's perfect because it's perfect for you. It's perfect for your schedule. You can stick to it, you enjoy it, it's healthy for you. It gives you all your macronutrients, it helps you hit your calories, it gives you your micronutrients, your fiber, all that great stuff. That is what I mean with perfect. It's perfect for you, for your goals. And I think that with the checklist I'm about to share with you, if you do that just about 80% of the time, at least, maybe more sometimes, but at least 80% of the time, if you build your days, your meals like this, it's pretty much impossible not to get the results, to be honest with you. I know it's a big claim, but if you hit your 4 to 5 meals per day and you actually manage, I think there is a, let me see real quick, I might have to go around here. Yeah, we're interrupted, so I might actually have to find my way around here. So let's see if I can find the way home. That being said, I just went around the roundabout twice. There's some construction, I think. But that being said, it's going to be pretty much impossible not to get the results. This is going to work for your health goals, for your performance goals, for your muscle gain goals, for your fat loss goals. And once again, I know these are big statements, but it's a fact. It's honestly a fact. If you do this stuff, it's literally like 90% of your nutrition already covered. But the thing is that people don't take action and they don't apply these things, because here's the thing. It's all basic. It's actually very easy to apply. However, changing your habits is not easy. That is the tricky part. Sticking with it, that is the tough part. So even with that perfect day in place, like, you're still gonna have to try to adhere to your plan and also go through days where you don't manage and also mess around with it. And you know what, like, maybe you put together a full day of eating where you're like, oh, that kind of sucked, you know, or maybe I felt more hungry, or XYZ. Okay, cool. Then make the effort of continuing to improve it over time, because I also want you to know that this is not something that's just a one and done, right? It's going to be a process of over time really putting together your perfect day. So that being said, the checklist we've all been waiting for. In this podcast, I'm not going to help you figure out your macros, but if you want to, I can also drop our TDEE and macro calculator in the show notes. So if you need help finding your targets, that is the place to be. Now, that being said, when you know your targets, here's what you want to do. Because you don't just eat 200 grams of protein. No. You eat your 4 or 5 meals. So let's say it's 200, right? If I eat 5 meals, we know what that is. That's 40 grams of protein per feeding. Awesome. Okay, so that's one. We split our macros, right, our daily targets, up into 4 or 5 whatever meals. You divide it, or at least just start with like even portions, and then if you want, you can move some more carbs around training, right? Puzzle with that, maybe even based on preferences. But let's start there. You're going to take your daily targets, you're going to break it down into 4 or 5 meals. Then, in particular with your proteins, I really want you to try and spread your protein intake evenly throughout the day, just how I just did that, right? So 200 just becomes 5 meals of 40 grams of protein, or 4 meals of 50. When it comes to your protein sources, you want to have your lean meats, your fish, those kind of things, eggs, egg whites, dairy products. Those are all great sources. So those should be the majority of your protein sources, and you want to go with lean options, because here's the thing. It's not that fatty proteins are bad. And by the way, salmon, right? Fatty option, but very healthy. I actually want you to include some salmon, but we'll get to that in a sec. But for the most part, try to go for lower fat protein sources, because we're going to be adding healthy fats pretty soon. So we got your proteins. Next up, you want to have your starchy carbs. And if you're tracking, this is all very easy to figure out. If you're not tracking, you could just do a quarter of your plate protein, just about quarter to like 30%, fill it up with carbs. The rest is going to be fruits and veggies, and then a little bit of fats, maybe like 1 or 2 thumb-sized portions. But okay, going back to carbs. You want to have your rice, potatoes, your starchy carbs, right? You want to have your whole grains, whole grain products like tortillas, that good stuff. That's your fuel. So those foods, the more complex, like fiber-rich carbs, right? Try to include them. Beans, legumes, lentils, those kind of things too. They're great. Then for your healthy fats, you want to have your nuts and seeds, your extra virgin olive oil, avocado, but also fatty fish like salmon, because you're going to get your omega-3s there. If you don't eat cold water fish, like maybe let's call it a couple times a week, then we should look into supplementing with omega-3s, because then you are lacking the essential omega-3 fatty acids that we need, that are crucial for health, so important. So far we covered your proteins, right? We know which foods to get, we know which carbs and which fats to get. When it comes to the actual amounts, you're gonna have to figure this out like as you sit down with your macros and as you puzzle your macros for the first time. But once again, you do this once, and then you can just follow it as your meal plan. You wake up already having hit your macros, you see? Now, next up, your fruits and veggies, because I want you to include a lot of color in your days. You want to have just about 3 servings of fruit per day and just about 3 servings of veggies per day. I'm just going to keep it simple, right? 3 of each. Lots of colors. Try to change it up. Eat the rainbow. It's one of the first principles I ever learned when I did my first ever nutrition certificate, precision nutrition, back in 2020. Eat the rainbow. You want to have all these different colors, because different colors indicate different phytonutrients, which are other health promoting compounds. So we want to make sure that, let me see real quick, should I go this direction? No, not yet. No, sorry, just had to make sure that I'm driving the right direction still. Wouldn't want to miss my turn, you know? No, all joking aside, and I might actually have to double check, but all joking aside, you want to have your different colors. You're going to get your different micronutrients, your vitamins, minerals, phytonutrients. When you change it up, again, like you're covering that, you're getting a lot of fiber, water. You're getting everything that your body needs. And it's not macros, right? We're also talking micronutrients. Those are super important too. They're essential, not optional. So we covered that. Now, of course, we always talk about flexible dieting, so there is room for more fun stuff. You can absolutely include some more fun foods, but I want you to prioritize the whole foods. I want you to prioritize this healthy eating plan, and then if you need to, you can tweak it, you can play around with different foods, and you can definitely include some fun stuff, and there is room for some processed foods, absolutely. I just want to make sure that you cover your bases. So we're not going to dive into flexible dieting too much today, but I want you to know that it's totally okay, as long as you mostly do these kind of things, right? You include these kind of foods. Now, when you do this, right, so you have your protein with every meal, your healthy fats, your starchy carbs, you have your 3 servings of each fruit and veggies, you're good, you're really good. And if you do that every single meal, like, it's pretty much impossible not to see results, you know what I mean? Of course, we're gonna have to toggle with your intake. If you wanna build muscle, you're gonna have to be in a surplus. If we wanna lose fat, you're gonna have to go into a calorie deficit. Your nutrition isn't static, it goes up and down, it ebbs and flows with the different seasons of nutrition. It is all seasonal. So I want you to understand that as well, that even your perfect day will evolve over time based on the phases that you're in. And then down the road, like once we're in a place where, hey, I'm kind of good here, like I feel like if I just maintain my healthy habits here, like I'm happy, perfect. In that case, you could just kind of stick with your plan and just kind of hang out there. By then though, you'll also have learned from the whole process, so you don't even need your meal plan anymore, because that's the ultimate goal. We use tools like macro tracking. We do exercises like the perfect day of eating. We are diligent, we are regimented with our nutrition for periods of times, like for seasons in life, to learn from, to get the results, to also understand that, hey, I will be learning from this. I'm going to be changing my habits over time, understanding that it can take multiple months for even that to become your routine, right? A new habit isn't just formed. We understand that we do these things, we use these tools to ultimately be fully in control. We can do it more, let's call it intuitively. We know which foods to go for. We can follow our, natural hunger and satiety cues. We have a healthy relationship with food, and we all achieve that through these kind of practices. So hope this helps. If you need more help, go to Instagram, DM me perfect day so that I know that you were listening to this episode. Apologies for the different kind of setup. I am driving. I hope the audio was okay. I'm gonna listen back to it pretty soon, so I'll know. The next episode is likely to also be recorded today on the same drive, just so you know. But I will make sure that my van is an actual camper van pretty soon with the studio set up, so the actual podcast, real actual podcast microphone is going to be there and all the good stuff. And we're going to have a little bit more of a polished episode again. So thank you for your patience. Thanks for listening once again. I appreciate you, and I'll talk to you very soon.